Renée Zellweger has always been Hollywood's quiet miracle, the woman who transformed herself for every role, disappeared into every character, and kept her private life sealed tighter than any script she ever read. But behind the Oscars, behind the charm, behind that unmistakable warmth, Renée has carried a pain she never intended the world to see. Now, at 56, the truth she finally reveals isn't glamorous, isn't dramatic, and isn't the story fans imagined. It's something far more human and far more heartbreaking. And what Renée admits now will change the way you see her forever. Long before Renée Zellweger became the iconic face behind Bridget Jones, Roxy Hart, and countless unforgettable roles, she was a young woman from Texas who simply wanted to feel seen. Acting wasn't about fame for her. It was escape, a way to silence the insecurity that followed her since childhood. When Hollywood finally noticed her, Renée didn't bask in the spotlight. She braced herself. She knew attention came with a price. What she didn't know was just how high that price would be. Her early success came fast, too fast. By her late 20s, she was everywhere. Interviews, photo shoots, scripts piling up faster than she could read them. People praised her talent, but fixated on her appearance. They commented on her face, her weight, her smile, her voice. Every part of her became public property. It wasn't admiration, it was inspection. Then came Bridget Jones's Diary, the role that made her a global superstar, but also pushed her into a cycle she couldn't escape. Hollywood celebrated her transformation, but Renée felt the cost physically and emotionally. Gaining weight for the role, losing it, gaining it again. Her body became a battleground she could never win. Critics joked about her appearance like it was entertainment. Tabloids dissected every pound she gained or lost. Renée pretended she was fine, but she wasn't. She felt like she had lost the right to exist as a normal human being. She once said she felt like a punchline in someone else's joke. And no one, not fans, not directors, not even the people closest to her, realized how deeply the scrutiny was cutting into her. Behind the fame, Renée was struggling quietly with anxiety, isolation, and exhaustion so profound that she often questioned whether she could continue acting at all. But the moment that truly broke her came later, when Hollywood's obsession with her appearance crossed a line she never expected. It happened during a red carpet appearance. The flash of cameras, the roar of press, and then silence. A single photo went viral. People claimed she looked different, unrecognizable, wrong. Overnight, the internet tore her apart, accusing her of surgeries she never had, mocking her face as if it wasn't attached to a human being. Renée didn't address it publicly. She didn't defend herself. She disappeared because the truth she carried was too painful to speak. And what she reveals next is the reason that disappearance nearly became permanent. When Renée Zellweger vanished from Hollywood, the world made assumptions. Some said she was hiding from criticism. Others claimed she was finished, no longer relevant. But the truth was far more devastating. Renée didn't step back to rest. She stepped back because she was breaking. Years of scrutiny had taken a toll she could no longer ignore. Every headline about her body, every joke about her face, every unkind comparison carved deeper into wounds she never let show. On screen, she was brilliant. Off screen, she felt invisible. Or worse, misrepresented. She said she felt like the world was talking about her, not to her, and the loneliness that created became suffocating. Renée struggled quietly with anxiety she couldn't explain to anyone. Her heart raced during interviews. Her mind spiraled before premieres. She would sit alone in her home, replaying the cruel comments she pretended didn't hurt, until she couldn't tell the difference between her true self and the version the world invented. And then came the health crisis that changed everything. Exhaustion turned into physical collapse. Stress damaged her immune system, her sleep, her appetite, her ability to function. She later revealed she was so mentally depleted, she feared she might disappear completely, not from the industry, but from life itself. Doctors warned her she needed to stop, not slow down, stop. Her body was sending signals she could no longer suppress. If she kept going, they said, she might not recover. So Renée made the hardest decision of her life. She walked away. No announcement, no explanation, no farewell tour. She left quietly, because she believed no one would understand the real reason. She wasn't stepping back to protect her career. She was stepping back to protect her life. While she healed in silence, the world continued speculating, joking, dissecting her absence like entertainment. But Renée spent those years rebuilding the pieces of herself she lost to Hollywood's gaze. She found therapy. She found stillness. She found what it felt like to exist without being evaluated. And the truth she reveals next is the moment that saved her. The moment she nearly didn't come back from. During her years away from Hollywood, Renée Zellweger faced a crossroads she never expected. She had always been resilient, disciplined, focused, capable of carrying enormous professional pressure. But isolation introduced her to a darkness she didn't know how to navigate. She later admitted there were days she didn't recognize herself, days when the silence felt louder than the tabloids ever had. The world thought she was hiding, but Renée was fighting a battle no one could see. The turning point came during a routine appointment, when a doctor asked her a simple question. "Are you taking care of yourself?" Renée couldn't answer, not because she didn't want to, but because she didn't know what taking care even meant anymore. She had spent decades caring for characters, scripts, studios, audiences, but never for herself. And that realization shattered something inside her. In that moment, she understood how close she had come to losing everything: her health, her identity, even her voice. She admitted later that she felt one step from disappearing, a phrase that made fans rethink every headline ever written about her. Slowly, she rebuilt. She learned to say no, to breathe, to rest, to exist without proving herself. And when she finally returned to Hollywood, it wasn't for fame, awards, or recognition. It was because she found something she thought she had lost forever: the desire to live, not just perform. Her comeback wasn't a victory lap. It was survival. When Renée Zellweger finally stepped back into the spotlight, she didn't return to prove anything. She returned because she had finally rediscovered herself. Her comeback in Judy wasn't just a performance. It was a quiet declaration that she had survived Hollywood, survived public judgment, and survived the weight of expectations that nearly crushed her. Fans saw confidence. Critics saw brilliance. But Renée felt something more important: peace. She no longer needed approval, no longer needed perfection. She simply needed honesty, and she finally had it. At 56, her truth isn't tragic because she fell. It's heartbreaking because of how hard she had to fight just to stand again. Renée Zellweger's story isn't about fame. It's about survival. About a woman who lost herself to the spotlight, stepped away to stay alive, and returned stronger than anyone imagined. If her journey moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories the world needs to hear.